Okay, part 2. Quick recap. Last time we showed that Fargo part 2 is about absurdism. Honestly, while I think this is cool, mainly because both the show is and absurdism is such a fun theme to use, what's perhaps more interesting and poignant is where Fargo takes it next. Let's continue. This world is chaotic and unintelligible. We humans, however hard we try, are inherently never able to fully understand it. We know this. But knowing and experiencing absurdism is entirely different to dealing with it. Indeed, absurdism wouldn't be absurd if it didn't challenge us in some fundamental way. The original tenets of absurdism go something like this. 1. Humans try to find meaning and regularity in the universe, and 2. There is no such meaning and regularity. I think the key word to explore now is meaning. We humans are obsessed with it, and we know it. We even parody it.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42.
42?
Our quest for meaning is what makes us vulnerable to absurdism, and as the universe constantly refutes this quest, we have to find some way to deal with it. Maybe we can just form our own purpose. One school of thought, existentialism, encourages this, even through the realization that there is no universal purpose. This experiment is portrayed through the strange couple Ed and Peggy. These are people from different worlds who try to fit their world, for the most part unsuccessfully, around their own purposes. And the show portrays this to us constantly. Ed has been indoctrinated by the notion of the American dream and the premise of the simple life, shown by his costuming, which uses primary and basic colours to show Ed as a fairly primary and basic man. On the other hand, Peggy has been influenced by New Age feminism, striving to stay up to date and break free of society's chains, the very ones Ed finds so comfortable. Peggy's obsession with magazines are vital here, stacked into literal corridors in her garage. Peggy symbolically here has built her domain around trends, around modernity, fashion, and pop culture. These are two entirely different paths to purpose, we can see that, and we also see them conflict in pretty much the first scene we ever see them in, through our mise-en-scène.
Should I?
Oh, hon, don't. I just got that stuff organized.
Yeah, but my chair, where am I supposed to?
We'll sit there, huh?
Yeah.
I'll move that stuff tomorrow. Promise. Bon appetit.
Just as much as I love you.
Notice how Ed goes for his chair, a typical element of your classic patriarchal household, yet this place is taken up by Peggy's magazines. Peggy is symbolically pushing Ed away in favour of her purpose, a newer purpose driven by modernity and not tradition. Then, Ed sits on a table higher to Peggy, placing the two on different levels, awkward to reach between, quite literally as well as metaphorically. This only becomes exacerbated within the series. Look here, where Ed and Peggy are travelling together in a car. The stylistic camera framing of Fargo actually serves to separate the two when they are physically close, due to their different purposes, different values, and yet they absurdly travel the same road, never entirely happy with their lot. In this way, the example of Peggy and Ed forms a counter to the popular existential brand of philosophy which recognizes no universal meaning, but encourages the formation of a personal one. In the Fargo universe, we see that the absurd path of the world destroys our ability to follow through on any sort of meaning that we choose to take on. Indeed, Peggy's meaning gets symbolically crushed in the end in this final dialogue between Peggy and Lou.
Let's see. You wouldn't understand. You're a man. It's a lie, okay? That you can do it all. Be a wife and a mother and this self-made career woman. Like there's 37 hours in a day. And then when you can't, they say it's you. You're faulty. Like you're inferior somehow. And like if you could just get your act together until you're half man.
People are dead, Peggy.
Peggy's long, emotional speech, her entire thesis on the world, is rendered hollow by Lou's short statement, "People are dead." No amount of abstraction can get away from this absurdism. We just can't form our own meaning. Mike Milligan, a hitman for the Kansas City mob, seems to understand absurdism better. He quotes the Jabberwocky, an absurdist poem here.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the mortar groups, and the moon wraiths outgrabe.
And he even understands the absurdity of human concepts like revolution here.
Now, ironically, in astronomy, the word revolution means a celestial object that comes full circle. Did you know that? Which, if you think about it, is pretty funny. Considering here on Earth, it means change.
You're nuts. I'm talking.
However, he still seems to direct his life. He lives his life as he wants, picking his purpose and taking it. Take this scene near the end.
Do you know what the definition of the word sovereignty is?
What am I? Professor from Gilligan's Island?
Sovereignty is absolute power and authority.
Like a king?
Exactly.
However, in the end, his ambitions of grandeur become thwarted, and his direction gets snubbed by an absurd world moving in a different direction. Look at the differences in shot composition and use of colour. Milligan in his element, king of the world, depicted in grand colours and low angles, into Milligan forming a stark colour contrast with a monochromatic office environment, boxed in by the frame. So even if we understand absurdism and think we can manoeuvre around it via some sort of existential purpose, we really are never prepared for it. Does this mean we're forever doomed to be the subject of greater powers, never understanding, never really even being able to choose our fate? I don't think this is the message Fargo Season 2 is bringing us, and that's because we get a very clear picture of who can cope with absurdism, who being the protagonist Lou and his family. Look at this scene where Lou's wife Betsy, a strong-willed woman with cancer, confronts absurdist thought.
Camus says knowing we're gonna die makes life absurd.
Well, I don't know who that is. But I'm guessing he doesn't have a 6-year-old girl. We're put on this earth to do a job. And each of us gets the time we get to do it. And when this life is over, and you stand in front of the Lord, well, you try telling him it without some Frenchman's joke.
So, does this mean religion is the answer? Well, I don't think so. Another character who manages to bypass absurdity to some degree is Peggy, although, to be fair, some of this is to do with her insanity, underpinned by this realization.
The human mind, aroused by an insistence for meaning, seeks and finds nothing but contradiction and nonsense. Think or be.
You're saying, don't think about the person I want to be. Just be that person.
Look at what is symbolically happening here. Peggy has stopped relying on guides outside herself to determine her life and give her purpose. She reaches some sort of catharsis by accepting that she must no longer think about what she wants and wants to be, but focus on being, by focusing on her internal, altogether insane self. During the massacre, when everyone is looking at the UFO, Peggy alone keeps it together, saying, "It's just a flying saucer, hun." Humour aside, it shows that Peggy, when confronted with absurdity, can brush it away. This now gives context to Betsy's philosophy. Like Peggy, she has faith in there being something greater than ourselves beyond our comprehension, but this doesn't bother her. She doesn't think, she merely acts as best as she can because she wants to. Notice how throughout the series, while she should be the most physically weak, she remains strong. Even when she collapses, we don't see the collapse, we only see her transition from straight-backed to collapsed. This implies an inner strength, not present in many of the confused, tired characters pervading the rest of the series. Indeed, in a fantastic anticlimax, Betsy's father and Lou's sheriff, Hank, is built up having a big secret, with all these weird symbols around the house. With the alien theme, this implies something dark, ominous, or existential, but rather, Hank is working on building a universal language, so everyone can understand each other, simply, easily, to perhaps end conflict. What a simple, nice thing. This pulls together the message of the series into a neat box, and maybe unjumbles the wires of absurdism. We can never escape from absurdism. The world simply is this way. But by not thinking too much, by being who we want to be because we want to be it, through family and through simple values, we can be happy. Well, bad news for us philosophy students, but hey, there you have it. See you next time.